Hey guys, I have a lot of people reach out to me about repatriating back to the motherland, and specifically Ghana. So I'm about to show you how having a successful repatriation back to Ghana and the motherland is similar to making good chocolate when I return on the Eric McNeil Be Free Show.
Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Hey guys, welcome. You've just discovered the Eric McNeil Be Free Show, where it's all about being financially independent, responsible for self, enjoying life, and empowering others free. So I'm holding this book that I have about home preserving, right? Like when I was growing up, my parents and grandparents always had preserves in the house, right? You had these jars full of all these good preserves, jams and pickles and things of that. And man, we used to love those preserves because they grew up in a time where the economy went bad, Great Depression, people didn't have food. So you had to know how to preserve foods and have them in your house. So we always grew up with this stuff. But when you look at preserving foods, you discover that really a lot of what you're doing is through fermentation. If you're familiar with the fermenting things like milk into yogurt, and you ferment here in Ghana, you know, when you have banku, it's an art of fermenting foods, right? You're fermenting that using that fermented corn with your cassava to create the banku, or to create things, you know, the fermented corn to create the kenkey. And cucumbers, you ferment them into pickles. Apples, you use it to ferment it and create the vinegar. I got this noni out there, I ferment it to create the noni juice. So we get a lot of good things through the fermentation process. And the fermenting is basically the all about these microorganisms in the fermenting process. And in every human body we have these microorganisms, and so what you're doing when you're fermenting, you're trying to create a population of good microorganisms in the fermentation process, and that's what allows you to preserve those so it's like if you have ever seen this Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right? So the fermenting process is about these microorganisms, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So these good microorganisms, or this good bacteria, is in your food. It helps to protect your gut. That's what you want in your food, right? So you have these good bacteria, and they are always fighting against the bad bacteria to keep it at bay. Now that bad bacteria is when you see your food spoil. It's been taken over by these bad microorganisms, you know. If you eat it, it doesn't taste all that well, but it may not, it usually doesn't make you sick, but it doesn't taste good. You know that's bad. I don't want that. It's gone bad. But then you have the ugly. Now the ugly are the pathogens, like that Ebola get a hold of you. That's going to make you very sick. You don't want that at all. So, you know, so you always have the good, the bad, and then there's the outright ugly that's going to send you to the hospital. Now, you may say, well, Eric, I thought we were talking about repatriating to Africa. How does that have anything to do with fermenting foods and with chocolate? Well, chocolate is a fermented food. This is how you make good chocolate. This is a cacao pod, or you can call it a cocoa pod, however you want to say it, but we usually call this a cacao pod. And this is where we get our chocolate from. So we want to just basically break this bad boy open, and then you're going to have the beans here. So what I want to do is there's two things that we need to do to get that cocoa, or get that you know, that cocoa powder that I had showed on a previous video where I was talking about China and the cacao powder. I'll put that link right up there so you can take a look at it if you didn't see it. But we want to go from this to something like this, right? Which is the cacao powder. And we don't want it to be this stuff that we buy out the store with all the preservatives in it. We want it as natural as possible. And along the way, I'm going to tell you how that is similar to, you know, how making this is similar to having a great repatriation back to Africa. So one of the things that I'm going to do before I break this open, I'm going to go out in my yard and I'm going to grab a banana leaf, because I want to let this, once I break it open, I want to ferment it, and I want to put it in like a banana leaf, right? So I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to go get a banana leaf. Okay guys, so I went out and just grabbed a couple banana leaves off the tree. You know what? Might be plantain leaf. You know, I don't know until the fruit starts to grow. My friend, he's told me how to distinguish the plantain leaves from the banana leaves, and I be forgetting. So these might be plantain leaves. Hey. But anyway, here you go. This is basically the cacao pod, and I just want to break it open and get the seeds out of this. So let me see if I can adjust this camera here a little bit so you can see that. That's all I'm going to do is just break this open, and we're going to get the seeds out of this bad boy. And yeah, so yeah, just, you know, just hit around. You know, you can actually do this by hand. It's not that hard, but I'm just using a knife. But you can do it. You can hit it with your hand, and you can break it open. Yeah. So once you break it open, you're gonna see these seeds in here. You see those seeds, just and they're surrounded by this little kind of sticky fruit. So you can take that, and so the surrounding is sweet. It's actually sweet. So you can suck it. And then you have the seed. Yeah. And you can eat it. If you eat it now, you'll see inside it's dark. That's the actual cocoa powder, right? So that's when you eat cocoa powder, you're basically eating the seed. And when you eat chocolate, you're eating the seed. That's from the seed of this cacao pod. So I'm going to just pour that out. That's all I'm going to do. Just go around and pull it out. It's kind of like this one is getting a little dry. It was ready, you know, probably a couple days ago. I could have pulled it, but no problem. Yeah. Yeah, so just pull it out. See that? Yeah, I'm just pulling those seeds out. And you know, the video that I showed you with the Chinese, it showed you how they were harvesting the seeds using a machine versus doing it manually, right? If you're trying to do this manually versus them using that machine, you're in trouble. You better come up with another way. But this is for me, so, you know, I'm not trying to sell in the business of selling cocoa beans, right? So, but if you in the business, then you better look at getting that machine, my friend. So anyway, Yep, I'm just trying to pull the seeds out. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, you have these seeds, you see. Yeah, I'm just seeing how much seed, what kind of condition they're in here. Yeah, so this one is actually not really fresh, but so at any rate, like I say, it's kind of sweet. Yeah. And now the key to actually getting good cocoa beans is you have to let these ferment about a good 5 days, and then you have to dry them out for about another 5 days or so. So in doing that, you're trying to bring out the beneficial bacteria to take over. Like if you've ever made yogurt, you know that you take the milk and you need to let it ferment, and you bring out that beneficial bacteria, which makes yogurt. Now if it brings out, if your environment is not right, then you get the bad bacteria takes over, and even the ugly that takes over, and you don't end up with yogurt. You end up with something smelly and it tastes awful, and can even make you sick. So our goal is to end up with the good bacteria. So this I'm seeing some of these seeds in this cocoa pod are actually not good. They've already rotten a little bit, so I'm just looking at them and seeing which ones I can salvage, because I just want to make the video so that you understand how the process works anyway, right? So we'll try and salvage what we can. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna just take these seeds, and then I've got I just got a little cooler here, and I'm gonna just put them in the banana leaves, and I'm gonna just put them in the cooler. So that's all I'm gonna do. So let me just take like some of these banana, leaves. I'm gonna strip them off of here. So nothing fancy. You just take this and just put the seeds in the banana leaf. That's all I'm doing, right? I'm not doing anything fancy. Simple as that. We're just creating an environment where we're going to get rid of the air, and we're going to let them ferment. Right? So, not rocket science here, guys. Not rocket science. So that's all we're doing. Right? So just put them in this here, and I've got a rubber band here. I'm just put this rubber band on there to hold it together. Right, very simple, nothing spectacular, very simple process that I'm using here. Yeah, and so I'm going to just put that stuff in my cooler. Banana down here, and yeah, so, and I'm going to keep this, in a fairly warm environment, and I'm gonna just let it ferment for about I'm gonna let it start, and I'm gonna let it go for about 3 days, and then at about day 3 I'm gonna let some air into it, and move it around. So so next 2 days, the final first 3 no air, then the day 4 and 5, you know, I'm going to let air into it, and it's going to continue to ferment. Then after that, I'll take them out and let them dry. So, and also, now that I've got my cocoa beans in the cooler, what I'm going to do to make this really start fermenting well is I'm going to fill it, put some hot water in it next to it. So I'm going to take this, hot water bottle, if you will, you know, that we use. I'm going to fill it with hot water, and I'm going to, you know, put it inside the cooler so to make sure it stays warm in there. I want a warm temperature in there, and that will make the fermentation process go very good and very strong. Okay, so and you wanna let them. You know, I got a dehydrator here. I put them in the dehydrator, or because we got all the sun, I can just let them dry in the sun. But the goal is to let them dry as naturally as possible and not put them under like an oven heat, because you kill everything when you do that. So, but if you want the real good cacao powder with the most nutrients, let them air dry. Let them air dry. Right? You know, put them in your dehydrator. Okay. So, but anyway, let's go back to how this making of the chocolate is similar to having a successful repatriation to Ghana, or just the motherland in general, right? I told you that when you are making chocolate, you need to have a good fermentation process. That's what helps develop the beans and helps bring out that aroma and flavor that you're looking for. It's all about the fermentation, people, and then the last part is the drying of those beans. But the fermentation process is creating that good bacteria, and inside of every human you have these microorganisms. These microorganisms want the same thing that you and I want. They want to live a good life. And I've learned that in order to live a good life and to get everything you want out of life, you have to help others get what they want out of life. That's the secret, guys. In order for you to get what you want, you have to help others to achieve and get what they want. And everybody wants to live a good life, including these microorganisms. So the good microorganisms have figured out that in order for me to live a good life, and I need to invade this body, the way that I can live a good life and be okay is to help do something beneficial for them. I can help preserve their life. I can help extend their life. I can help preserve their foodstuffs and make them healthy. And that's what the good microorganisms or the good bacteria have figured out. Whereas the bad and the ugly, on the other hand, they're just trying to take. They come and invade your body, and they just want to, your foodstuffs, and they just want to spoil it. They do nothing beneficial for your food. They do nothing beneficial for your body. So they make you sick, or they can even kill you. And as a result, you make moves to destroy them, and the good bacteria is constantly in a war, if you will, with these battle to help eliminate them from you, because they know that they are going to do you no good. And so when you get ready to come over to repatriate back to the motherland, back to Ghana, back to wherever it is you want to go in Africa, then you have to realize that there are microorganisms, there are entities here who are waiting to either help feed you and nourish you like the good microorganisms, or they're waiting to help deplete you and destroy you and consume you like those bad microorganisms, or even worse, the ugly microorganisms that you find when you're dealing with fermentation process, right? So there's a fermentation process of coming back to Africa that you have to go through. And if you don't do it right, then you're going to be taken advantage of by the microorganisms that are just waiting to destroy you here, right? They're waiting. They're all around waiting to consume you, right? If you try to come back in, you don't get it. And anytime you want to make yogurt or you want to ferment something, people tell you this is there's a protocol that you go through. You just don't come in and say, well, I want to make me some yogurt. Well, then just take the milk and just, you know, leave it open and it'll automatically turn into yogurt. No, there's a protocol, right? They tell you, okay, if you want to make this, then let's start with a culture, a yogurt culture. If you want to make, you know, one of my favorites is the kefir. You know, they tell you want to make that kefir, and you don't know about kefir, you need to. I talk more about that in another video, but I love me some kefir. So you got some kefir grains, you're always welcome to bring them here. But you have to start with the right protocol. You have to use the right protocol to get this stuff. Start with a culture and then boom, put it in the right environment. You know, so it's all about the temperature. It's all about the access to oxygen. It's all about the how much water it has access to and the pH level of it. All those things go into creating this fermentation process. Because if you don't go through the protocol, the proper protocols, then your food will just spoil. You won't have no good fermented food that you enjoy. You won't have that good kenkey. You won't have that good banku. You'll just end up with something that smells bad, that you know, repulses you, or that you know, even worse, make you sick if you try and eat it, right? So this is what we're trying to protect you from, and migrating culture has a protocol that we're using. And this is how we're making your repatriation back to Africa everything that you expect it to be. It's by using a protocol. And that we're saying, okay, we have a protocol that we're using now, you know. So if you're reaching out to me just saying, hey, I just want to do this, I want to do that, I'm saying, you do this, do that, but you know, it's not what we're about, you know. You do whatever you want to, but we have a protocol, and part of that protocol is that migrating culture crossing, our sustainable community. We know that what we are doing is creating an environment that's going to keep you out of harm's way. We're saying, hey, you come here and you're looking for housing, you invest in migrating culture crossing, you purchase a home here. Well, we're keeping you out of harm's way. We're going to give you a property that's going to preserve your life savings. You're not going to get scammed. We're creating that organic food forest. So it's giving you the type of environment that you're looking for, so you don't have to go out there experimenting. And this is the fermentation process of coming back to Africa that we're creating through our protocol, right? Because we know this is what people need. We know that they're going to need this, that, and the other. So create the environment to make it happen, because it's just as easy for you to come here and get taken advantage of by these quote-unquote bad microorganisms or bacteria, or these even ugly microorganisms and bacteria. And if you get taken advantage by those, because there's a lot out there, but it's the good that actually keeps them at bay. And we believe that we are part of the good bacteria. Like, you know, when we come, we're telling you, yeah, you're going to have to buy into migrating culture crossing. I'm not spending a lot of time with you just to talk to you about, you know, how you do your own thing, blah, blah, blah. My time and effort is with migrating culture crossing. So somebody said, well, you're just talking about migrating culture crossing and, you know, and you're just trying to lure people in. Yes, I'm telling you, because that's what I can put my stamp behind. That's what I'm a part of. So of course, if you're asking me, well, I'm at Migrating Culture Crossing, right? So if you want to be involved with me or you want to have access to me, well, it's at Migrating Culture Crossing, right? I'm not spending my time on a lot of other things, right? Because all of my time and energy is going to protect those people who are coming to Migrating Culture Crossing and who are buying into our community, right? So that's where my time and energy is being invested, right? So if you're just trying to get access to me in any other method, it's probably not going to happen because I only have so much time. And so since I'm trying to protect people from falling into the hands of these other groups that could get a hold of you, you know, I'm like, hey, here's where we are, and this is, you know, where we can protect you at, but we can't protect you if you way over here. We can protect you if you kind of within, you know, our boundaries, and we have a protocol, and this is what's needed. So at any rate, I just wanted to come and help you to understand how, you know, this whole repatriation process, it's like a fermentation process, people. There's a protocol, and either your fermentation, you know, it's going to turn out how you thought it would when you have some fermented food, or it's going to end up not fermenting and you're going to have some spoil or even some dangerous food that's no longer food, but it's just it's a spoiled mess that's waiting to catch hold of you. So if you like what we're talking about, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, give me your feedback, and as always, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Eric McNeil is free. And as always, hoorah, ahuru. Now be free.